Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Paranormal Lens. My name's Chad Thomas, and this is Jamie Widener, and you're going to see Adriana sort of in between us, but we'll bring her on in a minute. Jamie, what are you up to? Where are you?
About 5'9", 5'10", depending on what convenience store I'm leaving.
No.
There's always a height chart, dude, I'm telling you.
What are you up to? What are you doing tonight? Where are we?
You and I and Adriana, our dear friend, are sitting in the about to become the Commonweal Columbia location at 137 Locust Street in Columbia, PA. So the question is, why are we here?
Right?
Yeah.
And
we'll get to that.
We will. So have a good week.
I did.
Okay.
You know, we did something Saturday night with the entire Jotniks team. We investigated Booby's Brewery at the public event. It was a night of interesting activities, and as usual, right? So I keep looking at you, but I'm looking at the screen. I don't know where to go with this one. Where's my camera? It's over there.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Dang it. But you know, I think you probably have a tale to tell of one of your experiences in one of the spaces. Being asked to leave, perhaps.
Oh yeah, I was asked to leave. I can't remember where I was asked to leave though. Maybe it was the catacombs.
It was the vat room.
It was the vat room. That's right. I was asked to leave the vat room.
Yeah.
That's a first for me.
Yep. It's usually a pretty warm, welcoming space for us, but there was somewhat of a hostile environment going on there, so that was interesting.
Yeah, but that's all right. But we still had a good time.
Yeah, that's never a bad time. Right?
That's true. Yeah, and Jim's with us tonight as usual.
Jim,
so
good evening.
It was interesting. It was fun. Typical. We also had a dance recital for Emmy.
Yes, we did.
Well, I had two. You had one.
I lucked out.
So
I got the late shift.
But yeah, it was a good weekend. And got over, saw my dad, did some stuff for him. By the way, we have Charlie with us too, who's talking through the flashlights. So you may see him interacting.
Yep.
So,
we'll explain Charlie in a few minutes, but
yeah.
There's Amanda. Hey, how you doing? You know, these weekends that are packed with stuff always go by so fast. You know, and then like we're back into work again and all that stuff, and it's like, and then this. You know, coming here, we're off campus, if you will.
Right.
You know, we're our second attempt at doing something live, and I hope everybody can hear us because we're sharing microphones across kind of a straddled space here. So if you need us to speak up or anything, or speak down, I guess either way, we will be happy to.
Jotniks, New Jersey was at Penhurst Paracon. Good for you guys. Hope you
Penhurst
had a good
happened this
time.
weekend. That's right. I forgot all about it.
Yeah.
I was busy doing dance stuff and our own event. So.
And Jacob Findley has joined us tonight. Hey Jacob, how are
Jacob.
you? And Heather's there. So I'm assuming Bert's
not far
either. So
there he is.
There he is.
Hey Bert.
Sounds good so far. Glad to hear that. So, well, anyway, we're here to talk about the Commonweal. We did an investigation here, but we also want to give you some background on what the Commonweal is. And I was going through some stuff last night and found a video that was already produced, so I'm going to cheat and use that. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
So.
Just love hearing the sound of my own voice. Let's
all right,
do
so
it.
I'm going to run that. It's going to be about 3 minutes, so just hang in there. We will let Adriana talk through this video that she did already so she can save her voice for telling us more later. So here we go. Enjoy this. Hang in there.
We are a nonprofit bicycle co-op and community center and shop. So what we do is we have this wonderful space here in Reservoir Park. It's our original location. We opened in 2014, so we're celebrating 9 years. And here we have youth programming, and we also have a co-op space. So our youth programming includes the Earn a Bike program, youth bike workshop, our spring bike fling, and then for our co-op, people are welcome to come and rent stand time for $5 an hour and get free guided repairs. It's the best deal in town, and it's all about empowering people to be able to work on their own bikes and feel the freedom that comes with being able to ride a bike around town. For especially a lot of our kids, for example in Lancaster City, we don't bus kids under 2 miles. So for a lot of kids that live on the west side that need to get to McCaskey, this gives them the ability to, for example, sleep in a little bit before getting on their bike and then riding to school. Or say they have soccer practice, but they don't have somebody to drive them to soccer practice. It opens up a world of possibilities. They're able to get to jobs, they're able to get to soccer practice, they're able to save money because they're not necessarily saving up for a car. The Level Up and Launch funding is absolutely huge for us. We are so excited to be opening up our third location in Columbia. We have heard from folks in Columbia that Columbia kids need things to do. Well, one of the great things that you can do in Columbia is ride a bike. The Northwest River Rail Trail is right there, right? But you know, kids in Columbia, they might need things to do. They might need places to go, like to get to a job or to get to the high school, to get to the elementary school, to the middle school. We are being able to get to Columbia with this money to be able to empower more kids to, you know, get to these places that they need to go. But there's also another portion to that. We're also bringing our sales and service model to Columbia. And through that, we're able to offer apprenticeships where youth are getting paid to learn essential STEM skills and soft skills. And what we're seeing in Columbia too, that it's on the brink of a boom, right? So the River Trail has done so much for all of these river towns. And Columbia is really excited for us to bring our sales and service model because of the economic development component that we can bring. I mean, I'm just, you know, incredibly thankful to the United Way for this opportunity. This is huge for us, and we are just thrilled for this to be able to go out into the county, because for years we've heard from folks that they need our services. And this is truly transformational for us.
Hey, here we all are. Both flashlights came on when we went live as well. And Emmett's in the building with us too, so say hi, Emmy.
Hello.
But we want to welcome Adriana. I'm sorry, was that
It's
right?
Adriana, yeah.
Okay, so Adriana. I'll get it right one of these days. Yes, Jamie.
I doubt it. I really do at this point. So.
That's okay. 99% of the population does not get it right either.
That's true.
I will get it right the first time. I promise that.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna go.
No, you got buttons to press. Don't
If
worry
you
about it.
leave, do I have to leave?
Yes, that's you don't
Oh, yeah.
you don't want to go yet.
Oh yeah,
All
that's my ride.
So,
Yeah, dad is your ride. That's right.
so.
So why are we here, right? You know, obviously we're going to talk about the investigation, but you know, the benefit of having a community bike shop in Columbia, to me, as my hometown, is paramount, because I grew up, you know, half a block down the street, and I had to ride everywhere when I had a bike.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm old enough to be here before the rail trail, or the Northwest River Trail. So if I wanted to go to Marietta, though, I had to go over Chickies, which meant I had to have a bike with gears,
Yeah.
right? Or else I was going to walk my bike over the hill. If I need to go anywhere else, you know, coming out of the river towns, you're coming out up a hill. So having a bike was paramount to success. So, you know, and I know you're going to talk all day if we let you, right?
That's true.
And I know you can, of course.
Yeah.
But, you know,
It's my job.
well, it is. And, you know, here, this location being right downtown in the core of all the transition that's coming into the borough, of all the great things that we're doing, is just another nice fit to how things are developing in Columbia and making it be a strong, vibrant community once again as it was before. So, thank you. It's been a long time coming to be coming, you know?
It
So-
is. It's our pleasure.
So-
And, you know, again, we are very grateful to the United Way, and very excited that we got another Level Up and Launch grant this year to be able to get a Sprinter van to bring those same programs to rural communities all over South Central PA. So that's really exciting.
So, and Jim really thinks it's a really great idea and great execution. So there you go.
Thanks, Jim.
So, but anyway,
So we did something.
We did something, but let's talk a little bit about the history of the
Well,
building.
so
right?
let's,
Okay.
before we get there, so how we got here in the first place. So we are in a, we're gonna explain the history and all that stuff, don't worry, there's a lot. There's a lot and there isn't, sort of.
Well,
It
true.
depends, right, depends what you find. But as a property that's been in this borough for a very long time, knowing that it was here, and having my dear friend Adriana, have somewhat of an interest in the paranormal stuff, which I seeded nicely, I think, I hope. I asked one day, it's like, hey, you know, is there a chance that we could come in and just investigate the place? Because to my knowledge and to the documentation we could find, it had never been done before. And once you hear the history and you get a feel for what this place has been through the years, I think you'll understand that that is a thing of interest for us in the field because, you know, first one, unexplored place is always interesting. And a secondary to that, the type of things that were going on here would add some of the energy. And yes, Bert, the flashlight's been going off, and it will continue, I'm sure. We have a friend already, so hence some of the good evidence.
She has a friend.
I do.
You have a friend.
I have a best friend.
Best friend.
Excuse me.
I'm not telling John you said that.
I don't care. He knows it.
He knows. Yeah, that's true. By now he has to know.
Yes.
Okay. So, Chad, let's talk about some history of the place.
So I don't
By the way,
know.
Thank you for letting us just do this in the first place.
No, it was.
Thanks for not making me sound like I'm crazy asking.
Thank
That's why we lost audio. Sorry about that. I can't take myself off the screen or.
Oh yeah, you're kind of.
So,
you're,
anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. We were just saying that it was about the 1800s that the building was built, somewhere in the 1800s.
Yep.
It was called the Franklin House, so I'm assuming boarding house.
Yep.
I found this one at.
Hotel-ish type
Yeah.
landing spot. Yep.
It was heated throughout with steam, apparently, and they had electric call bells in every room.
That sounds great.
So that's the earliest we could find. The next real, I mean,
Well, I have something that I gleaned. Friday evening, this past Friday evening, was I can't call it a soft opening.
Sneak peek.
A sneak peek. Okay, fair
Sneak peek.
enough. A sneak peek. And I had the privilege of being here. I was in the basement, just taking some pictures for this, and I came across an older gentleman who is a fountain of knowledge of all things Columbia. And he shared with me a story of the era of the Franklin House, how folks, and this is not unlike the Accomack Inn story from a few weeks ago, where the Anderson Ferry was a bit like a mile or two up the river. The Wright's Ferry was here, and the travelers coming east to west would pause here, rest up for the night or a day or two even, depending on how far they've already traveled, and then take a ferry over, and from there they would pick up the stagecoach to take them off to Baltimore.
okay.
That was an interesting story, like, you know, because it's not like now where we can just hop in the car and be in Baltimore an hour and a half.
Right.
From here, an hour plus, you know. It would be an all-day event, if not 2 days more, travel by, you know, horse and buggy or horse and carriage, whatnot, before cars. So, and if you were taking a ferry over, you certainly didn't have a car, so to go
Right.
forward on. So, it was an interesting add-in, which adds some context, you know, to the value of this property
Okay.
and the transitions that it's going through.
Right. So somewhere along the line, it became a restaurant bar. I believe Jay's Lounge was first.
It was. I'm not sure it's the
Well,
first, but
Yeah.
First that we sort of have, the first that you remember, Jay.
yeah. So
I mean, that goes back a ways.
Hey, it does. I'm 5-ish years old. I'm walking past here, living a half a block down the street and welcome to Columbia. There's no buses, and everything's uphill both ways in the snow. every day. So walking by here every day, it was a bit of it was a bar and it's called Jay's Lounge. And then that eventually transitioned out and became a place that most people in Columbia are very familiar with, called the Lazy K, which we have up here now. It was a momentous day when the upper right pictures happened, which was just last week.
Just
right?
last week.
Yeah, early last week, about a week ago. That the sign finally came down, and it has, this building has an address, 137 Locust Street, right? And but nobody knows where 137 Locust Street, but everybody knows where the Lazy K is. And a bad reputation to some degree. I'm sure there were many who loved the place, but a dive bar, of sorts, and certainly probably progressed, slowly downward as the length of its tenure.
Right. Because these are some pictures of probably what it looked like
Yeah.
when it was the dive bar.
You're lucky there are no pictures of the bathroom,
Yeah. Well,
what we found in it.
yeah, that's actually an add into the story then too. With the sneak peek Friday, the Mayor Lutz got to speak a bit, and he was telling a story of the first time he was in here, claiming to have never been here when it was a bar, and I have no reason but to believe him, right? Because he's the Honorable Mayor Lutz. But he was coming in with a code enforcement officer, and they found, I believe he said, 2 inches of water in the bathroom area, and immediate flag of go get the placard condemning it. So there was some very bad disrepair, some very significant let go of at least this level of the place. There are residents above. There's a couple rental units up on the second and third floors, I believe 9 units in total. So people do live here still, certainly, and have all along. Housing is a premium here in the borough, but
And then it is sort of boarding house still, right? It's shared bathrooms.
it's shared bathroom. Yep. I can't speak to to the situation. I haven't had the opportunity to go upstairs at all, and I don't need to, of course. But
We've got friendly neighbors though there.
yeah, everybody seems nice.
Good.
We had a chat. We were here Friday out back with some folks. People are people. There's a lot of buzz. But after the Lazy K found its way out, it was a place called J&B, I believe, which is another lounge. The term lounge implies something, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know good or bad, but it just does.
And I did find an article on that, so that was the owner's name, initials.
Yeah, the
It was-
initials, a he and a she. Yep.
So,
And as that faded out, I believe that was the last establishment here, which was quite a few years ago. So it sat idle and empty for a long, long time. So,
and then the Commonwealth folks moved in, and they are doing work on it. We have some progress shots of some changes.
Lots of painting. It was very dark in here.
yeah.
Which would, a lounge, would,
Makes sense.
Yeah,
but,
dark and broody.
but not what you would be looking.
Rudy, either
Both.
way. Yeah, both.
And then this was from the sneak peek event that you were talking about, Jamie.
Exactly. This place was packed. This is a large space.
3,700 square feet.
Massive space, actually, not just large.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
It was elbow to elbow for a while here Friday night, so I'm quite excited.
But we are keeping the bar.
Of course.
yeah, I mean, but it
It's
works.
character, right.
So, I noticed it doesn't have a brass rail, though, Jamie.
It does not. It does,
So-
thankfully.
If you know if you know about boobies, you know what the brass rail is, and this does not have one, so we're in good shape. So,
Can't say it didn't at one point, but
But-
at least it doesn't anymore. We'll tell you that story off camera.
Okay.
so anyway, yeah, I mean, that's the sort of the history that we have. I mean, it's not a lot of
It's
history.
limited. It really is. And the cool thing, I guess, is the limitation is because nothing really bad happened in the bar. I mean, it had a reputation, and all bars do either good or bad or whatnot or ambivalent, but it didn't have like the constant presence of like the police coming and stuff like that to make it into the news on
Right.
a regular basis. It wasn't a nuisance establishment per se. It just had a kind of perception of something shady-ish, and that's it's opinion, right? So there are those who love the place, and I certainly respect that opinion. So, but the point is, it was left go, and it's back, baby.
It's back.
It's back. We're not going to show you any pictures of what it is now, other than what's behind us, but we'll save that for when they open in a couple weeks.
Yep.
And you'll have to come see it for yourself.
Yep.
But we do have the bicycle tool bench behind us
There's the flashlight.
and the flashlight. So,
Yeah, so, but we did investigate.
We did, yeah, a couple weeks ago.
About a month now. Yeah, so let's do a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
A roundup number.
Was what, April 20th we were here?
Yeah, almost a month to the day.
See, I said about a month. Come on.
Today's the 21st.
So anyway, so about a month ago we were here.
About a month ago.
It was Jamie, David, Jay, and I, and from our team, and who was here from your team? It was a bunch of
A
people.
slew of people.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, everybody, right?
Yeah, pretty much my entire team. Only one of our teammates couldn't be here.
Okay. And I believe they had fun. They were ready to get started when we walked in the door. It was like, we got to set up a little bit.
There's a little rah-rah port there. You know, what's interesting is that none, to my knowledge, had done a paranormal event before.
I don't think anyone did, no.
Right. And there was certainly some go-getters, and there were certainly some with, let's say, trepidation, but a bit of nerves.
Yeah.
You know, but the cool thing is, by the time we did kind of like 2 sessions, we didn't stay terribly late. We started maybe around 8, left by midnight or so, a little time in between. But what was really cool was how everybody kind of fit into the process and got engaged to it. There was nobody standing in the back with their arms crossed. You know, even the not so sure people got involved at some point and continued to get involved as we went further along.
There may have been someone who didn't like the basement and decided to move upstairs, but that's okay. I understand. It was a creepy place.
That's true. The basement well, basements are basements, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to a very old building with a stone walled basement.
I mean, we couldn't get Emmett to go to the basement, so.
Yeah, we'll go.
But I thought you were going to just leave me there.
There's laws against that.
So anyway, we did 2 sessions, and then I think we stuck around and did a third session with a much smaller group. So we have a couple little clips from things. So we'll go through the clips, and then we'll do a little bit of a summary of what we found. Does that sound good? All right.
This is your reveal, by the way. Yay!
So this first clip, we're going to dedicate this one to David, because we know he's going to be sitting there with his can of Windex.
Oh yeah.
Or not Windex, Pledge.
You could use Windex, I guess. Sure.
Probably. But we'll just leave it at that. We're going to run the clip, and then we'll talk about why we found it interesting. So the audio on this one isn't important, but it's more what's going to happen with what's in the foreground. So here we go.
Okay. So explaining a little bit what Jamie was talking about there. One belief is that we are all part of a collective mind, feeding into a universal knowledge base. So the fact that Jamie has formulated that question, he's already connected that to this larger entity.
Spirit technically can be anywhere at any time. In that same, kind of think of like a multiverse kind of concept. So there's all these different layers of things that are all happening in correspondence to each other, but in different lanes. And spirits can walk across all of them. We are in our plane we're on now. We can't go anywhere else. So the idea is that it's just kind of like this mashup thing. If you like the paranormal, I highly recommend if you travel to northern New Jersey called Static Project. They have created a device that's a closed-loop system that captures full words and phrases. And very much like this device does, but it has audio. And it's a phenomenal thing that they've come up with. A lot of times now, there's a device called an FP7, Spirit Box 7.
So Jamie, what'd you think of that one?
Well, do I have to go back to the orb episode? I don't usually account for orbs. Backscatter happens. It's a phenomenon. When something's too close to the lens to be captured, and it's radiated by the IR, and it looks like it's something more than it really is. It's either dust or moisture in the air, stuff like that. It's a really old building. The basement's fairly clean, though. I'm going to give credit there. Generally clean.
We did what we could.
Yeah. But with movement and such, there is the fact that there's people down there. There's airflow happening. It stirs up stuff. It just does. There are a couple of those pieces there that kind of just have some interest to them. There's at the very beginning. There's a kind of a rotating piece that's shinier than others. that comes back at the end.
That grade.
Yeah, that's exactly that. So, and then there's the idea that there's a couple that stay together in a pair, a trio traveling right to left, somewhere near the end as well. So, curious.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, this is what side of the fence you're on, right? You
Right.
believe in orbs or you don't.
Right.
Yeah, I can't fully discredit it.
Right. And that camera was set up, just so you know, down by the cooler.
Cooler, right,
So it
facing
was
up.
shooting the length of the basement. So it is what it is. So let's see. The next one we'll show is about 22 seconds. You may have to turn your volume up for these because the camera was sitting up on a wall. So it's sort of hard to hear, but we will talk through it then if you can't hear it.
We won't talk over it.
We'll be working with kids on bicycles, and get people to feel comfortable on bikes. Do you like bicycles?
Wow,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff there. That's great.
Damon, are you here with us?
Awesome.
That one? This
Yeah.
one? That one's
No,
it.
this one.
Yeah, so the gist of that one, I'm not sure if you could hear it or not, but basically it was, I believe we were talking about asking if they liked bicycles,
It was.
if we were, if they were interested in bicycles, and I couldn't see it, but a flashlight and a bunch of the lights on the floor lit up all at the same time.
Yeah,
So,
for context, there's a flashlight at the top of the room, and then there is a string of tripwire lights there on the floor. And they were walking down the line occasionally with answers, and the flashlights were definitely, you had a yes/no situation where there's a flashlight at the top of the room. The flashlight you saw in the clip was actually at the back of the room or closer to the center of the building. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty direct, right?
that was pretty cool.
Bikes, and yes, there is. And bikes, regardless of the generation or the era, bikes are bikes. They look a little different now than they did then, but they do more. But, it's a mode of transportation for many.
So.
So maybe the girls will be excited that a bike's of moving in.
Oh, they were very excited
Oh, yeah.
through
Yeah.
the discussion
That was
throughout
the
the night.
impression that we got,
So,
which was relieving.
uh-huh.
Turning you back and trying to get everybody here. I'm not doing a great job.
So this next little clip, it's about 24 seconds, and again, we're just going to play it and then we can talk about it. So here we go.
Do you want a red bicycle? Do you want a blue bicycle? Oh.
Blue one it is.
Good for you.
Perfect.
So in that clip, I can't remember, what was the woman's name? Was it
Kayla?
Kayla was asking about colors of bicycles, and she asked if they wanted a red bicycle, and the flashlight didn't do anything. But when she said a blue bicycle, the light came on really bright and strong, and everybody was like, "Oh, we got a response there." So that was pretty good.
Blue bike's a winner.
Let's see. Yeah, and I see, Todd, you thought the first clip was pretty interesting. I did too. That was. Let's see. This next one was also in the basement. We have one more from the basement, and then we have one from upstairs. So let's go with the last basement clip.
Are you all friendly? Are all of you friendly? Are you friendly to us? Thank you.
We are friendly to you too.
So that one was asking if they were friendly spirits, and I think that was asked twice, and we didn't get an answer. But then it was asked, "Are you friendly to us?" And as soon as that question came up, the light came on. So we were happy to hear that.
Yeah, very happy.
Yes.
So, Todd and Carmela, we would be happy to share the flashlight method with you. If you, when we get together and do an investigation, it's a tool that we use a lot.
Yeah, we
So,
do.
we'll be happy to show you how to do that, and we've got plenty of them to go around. So, as you can see, the one over my shoulder going off again, or going on again, I guess you'd say. Let's see, we have one last clip to play. Then we can talk a little bit about the entire investigation. Both of them are on, yeah. So this clip was actually upstairs. I think the group of women were upstairs again because we had split sort of guys and girls and went upstairs and downstairs and then flip-flopped. So it's the same group upstairs. David and Jay were upstairs, and David was running a Phasma box. And I just found this interesting. I think I hear something from the Phasma box. Let me know what you think you hear. So here we go.
Alright, so, you turn on the flashlight. Says something about the flashlight. You turn on the flashlight,
So what did you guys hear? Jamie, what'd you hear?
I gotta
unmute first.
No.
Oh no, I don't gotta do that. Oh no,
All right, we're not doing that. Well, I hear what Dave said, but turn on the flashlight, and then basically the same phrase being emitted from the Phasma box, which shouldn't happen.
No,
right?
it shouldn't.
Well, it can. Don't get me wrong, it can.
But it's not like the Phasma box has a microphone that's...
Yeah, it's not him being projected forward, so or retransmitted. So it's really interesting, and the fact that it happens twice. After he even changes, he asks to say flashlight, and then he says the same thing, and then it says it again. Like it didn't say, did he say flashlight? He repeats the phrase he created the first time again when he says it the second time. So I mean, it's curious.
To me, it sounds like he's just mimicking, being like someone who's just annoyed with the boss and is just like mimicking. If that makes any sense.
Right. I agree, and yeah, I mean, I get it. It's not terribly loud here as well. So, if you get a chance to listen to it again, you'll get it. It is really clear.
I think they're having a hard time hearing you. You have to project more.
This one.
No, you, Jamie.
No, you, Jamie.
Oh, okay. I can talk really loud, so y'all know that, right? So the idea with Dave is, first of all, things don't happen for Dave, right?
Right.
Very often anyway. And the fact that it happened twice since the session like that was really cool, and a really good piece of evidence to share with him. Not quite as cool as the...
I just saw something in the corner there, but that's...
Okay. Well, here we are. Not quite as cool as the tripwire going off about not wanting to see him at boobies.
Yeah, true.
With the boobies episode. Still pretty good. Love you, Dave. So,
What sound was that?
it's that person outside.
Okay, yeah.
So,
There, like Jamie said earlier, there's a boarding house upstairs, so we do hear things
there's
through
an
the floor.
entrance right over here to our right and stairs that go up. So, and people above us as well.
So we're-
TVs and other things.
We're at least going to blame it on that.
Yeah, we're going to say it's residential noise, and we're on a public street as well, so there's some light play and all that good stuff. So what I want to say here, and this doesn't happen very often. This, on the first time out of an investigation. And honestly, I had no idea what to expect. I had low, if no expectation of anything happening whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. And what we found was quite amount of stuff, And there's more that we had to kind of get rid of because it could have been something else. So the idea that we have over talking of us upstairs and Dave and Jay downstairs, that there could have been something in between because it's, we definitely can hear them. It's really hard to pull the evidence forward because it could just be contamination. And that's why we were trying to stay separate, because as a good investigator, you can't be on top of each other because you're just going to pick up everything.
Yeah.
Right.
And technology is that we have really sensitive mics and recording devices on purpose, but they're overly sensitive sometimes when there's shared spaces like this.
Yeah.
You can go to you go to a place, that has 3 floors and still be a full floor apart, top floor and basement even, and you'll still catch that stuff occasionally. So, but this was pretty amazing as far as the ability to pick up on how to use things. Like the flashlight that just came on, right, as a good trigger.
Yeah.
And a yes/no response to 2 separate ones, and having yeses and nos,
Right.
and not in direct answer to questions.
Because in the basement, we had that set up. We had
Absolutely.
two flashlights, one flashlight at one end of the room, and the other flashlight was on the steps. And we were getting yes and no's from that.
Yeah. And then the idea that the tripwire was used as well. Another not normal piece of equipment. It's not, everybody doesn't have one. Everybody can have a flashlight. You can purchase it in any store more or less. A lot of folks can have you can get a cat ball with Chewy. Some of the other equipment that
You also can get it at like a pet store.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, you can get it at a pet store. So the idea is that some of this stuff may be used by many, but the tripwire is not as common.
Gotcha.
The EDI is not as common. A REM pod is not as common, although in the paranormal field, most everybody has one. And unfortunately, we didn't have that go off. But some of the equipment that we did get to manage here was really cool to see, because for a first time out, there's some reasonable intelligence here.
Yeah, we didn't have to do a lot of training, which we've had to do.
Yes.
And when I say training, it's training of the spirits,
Yep.
believe it or not. But so
No.
we didn't have to do much of that.
My spirits are on point.
They are.
I'm very proud of them.
And to be honest, I will say that I made a comment to this on I listened to the recordings again. You were a natural at what we were doing.
Thank
so.
you. I had a great time.
So, Jamie, I'll let you answer that question.
Ooh, it's me. It's got to be me. Most likely me anyway.
That tracks.
Yeah. Thanks.
I mean,
I'm more apt. I'll tell you this though. I am more apt to find something in the evidence to admit it than I am to absorb it. And and we talked about this a little bit before, but as a paranormal investigator, there's 2 things here. There's a paranormal investigator, there's a ghost hunter, and I knock neither of them. But I categorize myself as a paranormal investigator, because the ghost hunter, to my opinion, and this is only my opinion, this is J.B. Widener's opinion, that as soon as something happens, it's a ghost, regardless of what it is. And it could be environmental, it could be physical, it could be another human in the space, something, like there's people live upstairs, so there's a bump, a weird sound, and it's explainable if you look for it. And not everything is paranormal then. But if you take away all of the things that could be paranormal, or normal, sorry, all the normal things, like the vents, the heat kicked on, the air kicked on, or stuff, a light, from a car going by, all that stuff, you take that all out, and what's left then should be paranormal, because it's no longer normal.
Right.
And that's where the investigator goes, So I'm more apt to remove things than to include them, but when I present something, I feel pretty good about it. I feel strong that it's real.
Yeah.
And I'm still then at the point where this is like being the scientific method. If you present science information and someone can change it for you, because science evolves,
Yeah.
right? It's not a fact-only thing. It's once and done. So if you listen to it, Chad, and say, well, I think honestly it's this, you may have a different perspective than I, then we can evaluate whether it's real or not. And that continues to get forward. These pieces are pretty real. Stuff really did happen. So it's quite fascinating. We have won a first out event.
So,
And so how's it been, being here for the last month and knowing what you know, because now you're a paranormal investigator, right? You've done it. You've all the tricks and trades. There's a cat ball. You did the funniest thing, by the way. Friday evening, you came off stage for your comments. You stood next to me and leaned over out of the blue and said, by the way, there's a cat ball floating around here. And I said, literally? Physically, and we left one apparently. So
Yeah.
but, you have a little bit of, and it's back here on the shelf. So you have a little bit of tool stuff. You have some certain training and some intuition and instinct, obviously. So what's life been like here for the last month without us?
I spend a lot of time here by myself. Yikes.
well, maybe before we dig into that, Jamie, we should talk about Charlie a little bit.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think that
There
might
was a
lead.
connection.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
So the last investigation that we did was about 45 minutes, right around 11:15, so it went right to about midnight. It was Jamie, it was the three of us in the kitchen, and we made contact with a spirit named Charlie. Now, we had gotten Charlie downstairs as well, and I don't know if you got the name Charlie up here or not, but I know downstairs, as the flashlight comes on, we got Charlie again.
Hi, buddy.
So through some flashlight communication, we found out a couple interesting things. Charlie was in a gang in Colombia. Jamie related that he had grown up in Colombia, so he knew some things about the area. It was possibly a street gang. And Jamie said he knew how there were many gangs in town, so he was asking where it was. So we believe that Charlie may have lived uptown somewhere above 9th Street. He may have possibly driven a car, but then again, we found something else out that we weren't so sure about that. Something was alluded to about the 1950s. So we got to the 1950s. Possible parents' names were Walter and Mary. Charlie was scared of Walter. That came through pretty clearly. Charlie knew the name Florence that we had encountered downstairs. We couldn't find out much more about it, but there was a name connection that was brought up, and the flashlight was pretty strong about that. He really enjoyed talking to you. That was made clear several times.
We're besties.
Not wanting to go into too much detail, there is another haunted location next door.
Yes, there is.
And Charlie was aware of the investigations over there, and we may have said that maybe he should go mess with them, but anyway.
In a fun way, of course.
In a fun way.
Let's not keep that a secret, and it shouldn't be. So
Okay.
the location here at 137 Locust Street is directly next door, one door up the street from Art Printing and the Samuel Miller Mansion, which is now My Haunted Manor. So the
Okay.
Robaugh are doing a great job over there. All the cool things that they're up to. We're all friends in the field, kind of thing, and we know them,
Yep.
they know us, so it's not a secret by any means. But in that, the question was asked. Is there times when there's so much going on there that you just want to get away and you come? I'm assuming, you have the ability to go through walls and because you're a ghost, so
Right.
Come over here, get away. Now, obviously, is this coming in going to intrude upon that? And
Right.
Obviously, the basement's not a workspace. It's not a shop space. It's a storage area.
Right.
So there's not going to be a whole lot going on down there.
Not with those steps.
Not with those steps, right? The outside steps are safer, I
Yes.
swear. But the idea that we could be crossing over different places. We've never had an investigation next door to a known place before, that I'm aware of, at least as our team goes. And I thought that was an intriguing prospect that could happen or would happen, and there was kind of a confirmation of that via the flashlight activity.
Didn't we also glean that Charlie is probably Irish?
We did. I had a couple more notes. Let's see. Let me jump back to my notes page. We also got hits that he may have come from the 1750s. We weren't sure, and maybe it was more than one Charlie, or maybe it was, it's hard to tell.
Charlie Senior and Charlie Junior.
I know Todd asked that question, I believe, how many spirits we were talking to. We know of probably 3 or 4 that we were definitely communicating with. And he did say that he knew the Wrights who ran the ferry. So at least one of the spirits we were talking to knew them. He may not have been born in the U.S. He alluded to being Irish, and last name may have been O'Rourke. Jamie asked if it started with an O after we asked if it was Irish, and yes.
That makes sense, right?
But sort of O'Rourke sort of came to mind to my mind, and then the flashlight came on when I said that. So
if you could technically do further research into Charlie or Charles or York in this area.
guess what? There's a lot of them.
It's a common name.
Yeah, it's a pretty common name. So.
But I also noticed when you brought up that you were close friends with Charlie, like now.
See? Because we're best friends.
So yeah.
Hashtag besties.
Yeah, exactly.
So Ton Carmela, yeah, I would say we at least 3 to 4.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There was a fear from Charlie of a woman, which was it Gladys or
Florence.
Florence. I'm sorry, it was an old time name. what's old is new, I'm sure. That is, that was an interesting thing too, like, getting away from someone oppressive as well. So that's another reason to be in the basement.
So we're going to investigate the basement again.
Yeah.
We're definitely.
As long as we're allowed to.
Yes.
We've already talked.
As long as I'm allowed to come along.
Of course.
So I think we
need keys.
That's true.
we do definitely want to do it with smaller groups and like one floor at a time, because there was like it was full blown conversations bleeding through the floors. So
welcome to an old building.
Jamie, I'm going to let you answer this question.
Everybody. That's a great question, Todd. So Columbia is one of those melting pot communities. There are certainly Irish here. There are some Polish. There are some Germans. A lot of Germans in Lancaster County in our region.
I was going to say Germans because there's a nickname for like Lancaster and like central Pennsylvania in general, the Pennsylvania Dutch. But most people thought like Dutch as in like from Holland and Netherlands, but it actually translates to German.
Yep. So a little bit of everybody, and it's interesting because it's like anywhere else, people kind of settled in their pods, and that's how the wards were designed and separated as well. So there are 8 wards or 9 wards here in town, which are voting districts basically, that don't exist but do exist. And that was a point of pride growing up for people what ward you were from as well. And that kind of alluded to Charlie with his element of a gang.
Right.
I asked, what ward are you from? And that's how we kind of determined it was uptown.
Right.
Uptown. But then, and then in the era, 9th Street would have been like the end of town back in the day.
Right.
And now it goes up to like 13th or 15th, whatever it is, much further up. But there was a time when that was it.
Right. And it was a river town, so it was just an easy. It was a ferry stop.
Work was plenty.
Yeah.
And the town grew off of industry for the most part, and transportation. So in proximity, to the east-west crossover of the river. And Flashlight just validated me. Thank you.
I believe there was talk of it being the capital at one point.
There was. Yeah, that was an interesting experience. The proximity here to the Susquehanna, which led to the Chesapeake, put it in a contention for the nation's capital. George Washington was of the opinion that it should be, and once voted upon, my high school history teacher is going to kill me for this, but I think it was one vote shy of being official, and then Washington D.C. was chosen instead,
right?
Because it was a closer proximity to access to the ocean than here would have been.
Everybody loves a
Wasn't
swamp.
Lancaster the capital for like one day?
It was.
Lancaster was, so was York as well.
York was for like 3 days.
Pennsylvania was like, no, Philly was where the original capital was.
Yes.
So, I think we have a volunteer to come in and help us, Jamie.
Oh yeah, we could.
So, I think that would be very interesting.
Having someone with some ability as well, I agree.
Yeah. So.
Okay. More to come on that.
So anyway, sort of where I cut you off earlier.
Please, cut me off anytime, that's fine.
No, I had cut you off, so you want to continue with
I don't
that?
remember where I was, that's what I'm saying, it's fine. Dude, we know each other. That was like minutes ago.
So since, for the last month, what's happened? What have you experienced? I know you've gotten into the habit of when you leave going, I'm leaving, you got to stay.
Yeah, sorry, bestie, gotta stay here.
That is never a bad tactic.
Yeah.
It really isn't, so.
Just to, but I do, as I said, like I spend sometimes a lot of time by myself here, and it's a big building, and I don't necessarily like to be by myself, so I'm like, hi, Charlie, and I'll just be like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? And then I always make sure to be like, peace out, stay here, and just chit chat. And it just is,
As the flashlight.
Thank you. It's just nice. It's like kind of comforting to know that my BFF Charlie is here. And not that I feel like unsafe here at all, trust me. I got my buddy Bob upstairs and and everything, and lots of cool people around. But
I'm guessing Bob is a person who's alive.
yes, Bob is an alive person. A living person, but it is just nice to just know that my buddy Charlie is around, and that I'm safe here.
Good. I think you need to get a flashlight though.
That would probably be very fun. And people will be like, who the hell is she talking to? They'll see me just like chattering to myself and see if ding, 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 ding.
I've said this so many times, it feels like I just say it all the time, but 99% of what we do is walking around in the dark and talking. and because it's just not an on-demand thing.
Right.
Again, I was very pleasantly surprised that stuff happened while we were here. The direct interactions we picked up on almost immediately really don't happen. And that's why we record and we video, we go back, we review all of that stuff. And then there's these aha moments of like, holy crap, that we had no idea this was happening in the moment. And it's a little chilling sometimes. It can be anyway. I had a very awkward situation for a Saturday night for me, leaving the catacombs of the brewery. A quick aside to this then. In the catacombs at the bottom of Booby's Brewery, there are 2 levels. There's 5 steps up from the lowest to the next level, which is still 40 feet-ish underground. The handrail that's on the right hand as you go down the steps is loose and it rattles, and it makes a very clunky metallic sound. As I'm the last one out, I've turned off lights, I'm starting to head up the big steps that would get me back to where I need to be. I heard that, clear as day, and it made me stop. And there's nobody behind me because the door from the lobby is down, everybody left with me or ahead of me. And I paused and I started to step back and nothing but darkness behind me. And I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm not afraid, right. But it gave me chills.
Yeah. And Jamie, I'll tell you, Jamie does not get spooked easily.
I don't.
And he came up and it looked like he'd seen a ghost.
I heard one. I definitely heard something. And
so
I stood there for the longest time waiting for it to replicate, seeing if I heard footsteps, anything, any other sound that would give me something to work off of. And of course, all my equipment is in my bag. We're leaving for the night.
Right.
We're done. We're going to go pack up. And these things always happen when we don't have a camera or a phone or whatever.
Because it's just for you.
Yeah, maybe. And
yeah, that's a very valid point. So,
but having that flashlight or the cat ball or whatever it may be with you will give you that chance to have that communication like that you'll know that something's going on. So, I think you know.
So those are your experiences. Do you have any experiences? I know if you don't, I know Jamie does. But do you have any experiences from any of your team?
I mean, Ian has said that he saw somebody here. He didn't tell me that, but he told you that, right, Jamie?
People talk,
Yeah, but Ian's not one to just talk.
Well, once here's the funny thing. Once you tell somebody you're a paranormal investigator, everybody has a story.
I don't know what that was.
That was fun.
That was a celebration.
That was a lot of fun, actually.
That was fun. I'm serious though. Ian is not one to just say something to say something.
All right, that's fair. I don't know him very well, obviously, other than being here that night and meeting him. I ran into him Friday here at the event. But he explained a story that he was somewhere here near the bar. Off to the right is the doorway entryway that goes into the back half of the building toward the former kitchens. And as he was looking, ahead to my right, he saw what he believed to be a man with dark hair cross from right to left across the doorway, which would be taking you to the steps to the basement. And in true fashion, he got Mackenzie to go and check it out. And this is kind of funny. Mackenzie went downstairs. Mac went downstairs. I'm going to say Mackenzie is probably going to punch me.
He's fine with that.
Mac goes downstairs. He comes back up. Doesn't really say much per Ian, and then just leaves to go somewhere else, which I'm assuming is back to Lancaster to the shop.
That sounds about right.
Which is kind of funny in a lot of ways because whether you believe or you're a believer, you're a non-believer, your imagination gets you sometimes. And the basement is not overly scary. But if your imagination is already there and you're suspecting you're going to see something or expect to see something, it changes things.
Especially when you see somebody walk over there and then
Yeah.
they're not there.
Yeah, and there's
So-
also like a really creepy old walk-in. Like that is
Yeah,
the
that thing
Yeah.
is, that is weird.
It's it would be it'd probably been the beer cooler
Yes.
because it's right down underneath where the bar is.
that's
so that makes a lot of
100%
sense.
what it was.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
so
And it's abandoned. There ain't no beer in there.
You checked it twice, right? Just to be safe?
No, I have not been in there. I refuse.
so
We checked it, there's nothing.
and to answer the balloon question, we have no idea what the balloons were. I don't know if it was something with the camera we're using or if it was a Facebook thing, but that was interesting.
What
So,
if it was a ghost doing something?
maybe.
There it is, Jim's got it, 99 Luft balloons.
Yes.
So
Now the song is in my head, thanks, Jim.
Great song.
I do not
English
know
or
that
German?
song.
99's
German
it.
Yeah.
Naturally.
In that spirit, though, pun intended, as the evening was winding down Friday, I had the privilege of staying a little longer, and I was taking some pictures in the next room, and I'm standing in the doorway, camera up, click, and then I heard immediately to my left, which is a short wall between that doorway and the doorway that leads to the stairs to the basement, the sound of something metallic falling, like keys or a couple pieces of metal together. Like a chunk kind of sound. And I just did this, and all that's in front of me is an easel with some of the old pictures of how it was. Nothing that moved, nothing there that would have fallen. I stepped into the doorway and looked all over the place, and that space is very clean compared to the first time I saw it
Yes.
a couple months ago. So I have no idea what it could have been. I stepped back out here into this room, there's nothing in that corner. Nobody was with me. Nothing fell out of my pockets.
Was that you, Charlie?
I have no idea what that was. It was pretty clear though, and of course, no equipment on.
Right.
As always,
Yeah.
nothing in the pictures either.
It seems like the
Interesting.
best things that happen when there's no equipment.
Yeah, well,
That seems to be the norm. Is yeah.
it's another true story. Absolutely.
If you couldn't tell, there's also a lot of train traffic in this town, especially the tracks are right down the street from
Half
here.
a block.
Yeah.
So
They're
Yeah.
like somewhat parallel to them with Susquehanna.
there, yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be so. You're right. Bert, you're not wrong.
Entirely.
So
And that goes to kind of the pace of this. Like there's stuff that if you're attentive to the nuances of the places, you'll find things like this happen. And one thing I'm going to ask you to do, flashlight, if you would please, grab a tablet and just start noting things that you notice. Keep a journal. Keep it here.
maybe keep a store journal.
Yeah, keep
That-
Okay.
it here.
We can do that.
And it's a challenge to do so anyway. That way, say Ian has an experience, or Mac, or Kayla, or anybody who's here, there's a lot more staff, obviously. Then there's a place to note it, and that way we have something to go back on. We do the same thing at events. We host public events at Booby's Brewery. We keep a journal each time we're there of the events that happen at the occurrences that happen on all three levels we investigate on. And that way you start to see patterns, you start to see occurrences, regularities, similarities. Certainly it can cross different floors as well, because it's not restricted to any place. So it really will help kind of paint the picture.
I've got plenty of notebooks.
All right, I figured you would.
There's one thing I have, it's
I
notebooks.
mean, for me, when you first said tablet, I did not think of tablet as a writing tablet.
That's
old-
because
old
you're
people-
young.
We're old.
People use paper.
We like
Yes.
paper.
So
I would just type stuff off, but if I needed to put it in a
Kids.
journal, I would write it down later, but I would put it on my phone because I almost always have a phone on me.
Yeah, naturally.
well,
These children.
yeah. So Jamie, we're at that point in the investigation where we typically say, or the evening where we typically say paranormal or not.
I want to use an expletive here, but I probably shouldn't. Flush your ears. Hell yeah. Yeah, something's going on here. I began, because we had initial activity. If we got nothing the first time through, I'd be more skeptical than I usually am. But because we had immediate activity that was consistent to the call and response of questions, and especially downstairs with a yes and no trigger either way, and direct answers that way, I feel pretty good about saying yes. More to come.
Right.
More opportunity, of course. We'll have a better gauge, but I think so.
Right.
What do you think?
Oh, I think so. We've talked earlier about I may set up some cameras in the basement. and just let them run and see what they pick up. We'll, when we investigate next time, maybe we'll see.
That's me.
I just think
It's past bedtimes, dude.
It's past.
It's past your bedtime.
I think that seeing what happens when there's nobody here might be just as interesting as when when there are people here.
Sure.
So,
Well, what's the adage? It's a true sign of character what you do when no one's watching.
right.
So,
Charlie, you hear that?
So, and maybe that we're more apt to get somebody walking across a room, or so, or not. Who knows?
yeah,
We'll see.
We'll have to find out, right?
But so,
Well,
we should ask our guest as well.
yeah, I would say we're missing somebody here. So, what do you think?
I'm new to all this, but I think it's paranormal AF, so I think I am filled with lovely ghosts, and I'm very excited. Especially Charlie.
It is.
I mean, have you heard me at all? Did you have to guess?
Apparently, that's all she's talked about since we investigated is
Seriously.
this what happened and things like that.
My
So
employees are like, will you shut up?
I'm guessing that you don't think you're going crazy, or there's actually a ghost.
I mean, they already think I'm crazy. It's
crazy,
fine.
crazy relative.
Yeah.
At a certain age, right?
So well, I know you're.
I think we agree on. We all agree. It's
Yeah,
the first
I
for our
think so.
panel to agree. So.
I know you're ramping up and getting ready to open soon. I don't know if you have a firm date yet, but we will be watching, and once we hear, we'll make sure we announce it so people know.
This is just yet another reason to come to Columbia,
Mm-hmm.
and a good reason, very good reason. There's a lot of others, but this is a solid reason.
Mm-hmm.
Get out and ride.
Also
So-
good to support local small businesses.
Absolutely.
Right, and on that
That's
note,
a great hot take.
what a great lead-in.
Oh, look at that! Right? How can
So-
you tell?
Let's go to this. You can help by going to the Commonweal's website and making a donation. There's different ways you can help. I'm not going to read through all of them, but you can basically sponsor a scholarship for an Earn a Bike, different things like that. So if you can, we understand times are tight, but every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you.
so I think what you're doing here is a great thing, and I really appreciate that. So my kids have been through the Earn a Bike program.
It's a really good experience, and you learn a lot of skills that you might use in other things.
That was
you.
unsolicited.
I know.
So, and Jim has named, I mean, I know we've been calling him Charlie, but,
Choo Choo Charlie.
but Jim has named him Choo Choo Charlie, so.
Do you like that, Charlie?
Oh, it's already on, so.
It's flickering.
It's fading.
So we'll see, but we'll go with it, so. So yeah, that's what we've got for the Commonweal. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe the first of other times. Who knows?
I am always happy to come on and talk about my best friend, Charlie.
So,
Probably have the same outfit on.
Oh well.
You never know.
so yeah, Jamie, you want to talk about what's coming
Yeah,
up?
I gotta put my old man eyes on again. I couldn't do this and this at the same time with them on. So we got some stuff coming up. As always, there are investigations. There are 2 in June at Booby's Brewery. The June 1st date has 10 tickets left. They are starting to go quickly, and they always do. June 29th is still pretty open. And then we're coming back on July 13th, August 10th, and September 7th. More dates are coming. We know this. It's just a matter of getting the brewery to release those dates officially to their calendar. I feel pretty good. I heard a rumor that it's going to be this week. Now, it's a rumor, so it could be next week.
I keep checking.
But as soon as they are, we'll have them here.
Because
Knock on wood.
Well, yeah, knock on wood.
I know
Real
as
wood here,
soon
too.
as they're released, I know Todd and Carmela are going to be getting some
Yeah.
tickets for an event that they are
There's
looking
a special
forward to.
event coming that is really cool, so that I'm just jonesing to do. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll be here soon, before you know it. So, and then a couple new episodes coming up for us. Next week, I'm going to talk about Dark Watchers. Technically, it's the Dark Watchers,
Okay.
but we'll go with this. A phenomenon that occurs in the Santa Lucia Mountains in central coast of California, right on the ocean. I don't want to give too much away on this, but something that's been happening since the Spanish explorers landed in the area in the 1700s for documentation, but much longer than that in the native lore. But a really cool idea there, and something I think you'll have fun with, we'll have fun with. The Soma Mansion, Chad's going to take that one on June 4th. I'm going to do I was working on this one earlier today. It's getting longer and longer, but one of my very favorite places is Harpers Ferry, West Virginia.
Is that going to have to be a 2 episodes?
It's going to be a long one, so pop some popcorn, get some non-caffeinated beverage. Get a caffeinated beverage, actually, keep you awake. Dr. Pepper for you, okay.
Great place to ride your bike.
School will be out, so we can allow that. Great place to bike, right? Great place to hike, right on the Appalachian Trail. Forever tons of history and paranormal experiences there. So I hope to do it justice. It is literally one of my very favorite places. June 18th is that great band that plays everywhere on the weekends, TBD.
Should we determine?
I know what it means. So I don't know why we have that. I can throw an episode in there.
Okay. I mean, I just haven't come up with one yet.
I got one.
Okay.
Actually, Hotel Hershey should be there.
Okay.
And then after that,
That one that we have other guests coming to, maybe?
maybe not. There's 2 episodes that I've got sort of in the can.
Okay.
One is the Haldeman Mansion, which anyone knows us, that's our home. We started there as a team getting out to do public events. It was a fundraising opportunity to restore the mansion back to its heyday glory. We lost the opportunity, but we also gained Booby's Brewery right around the same time. So that's going to definitely come, and Jerry and Melissa Keller are going to join us for that one, as they actually lived on property there, which is a great experience. I wish I could have done that. But I've gotten to investigate that place 100 times over a little bit of time. And then I have another episode called I got to make sure I say this right because it's a very interesting Spanish word, La Stiguanaba, which is a cryptid of Central America. It is a body of a woman, a head of a horse, tempts men into the woods and with charms, and then, bad stuff happens. So
Sounds hot.
Well, kinda, right? Kinda. Depends on which side you're on of that. So that will be coming up very soon too. And then we may or may not, we haven't determined yet, take a little break in July.
I'm going to take a week off.
Definitely have to take a week off. So we might need a guest host for a week while Chad's away on a vacay. Not an assignment. This is just I'm just being nice to say vacation. You are giving your time at a very great place, and I don't want to steal any of that thunder. So if you want to talk about it, you certainly should. But
I go to a summer camp and cook for a week. That's a short week. The camp is Sunday through Thursday. It's a special needs camp. The one I go to is an adult special needs camp. So, anywhere from 60 to 80, I believe. We've had some really old campers who have enjoyed it all their life. Really cool. And it's a great opportunity. It's a great experience. I have a great staff in the kitchen who help me out. I started doing this week last year, and it was a definite learning curve since I'd gone from assistant cook to leading a week, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a good cause, and I enjoy it. And my kids grew up doing it. Ben still goes and does a week, and Ben's coming the same week I am. Zoe is coming that week as well. So
it's a family affair.
Yeah, it's a great time. We have a lot of fun. So.
Charlie's really into it.
So.
What about you in?
Podcast will go there.
It'll be interesting because we have a new kitchen this year. So it's an old conservation corps camp, and the camp needed work, and they worked on it over the winter, and we're gonna have some adapting to do. Let's put it that way. But we're up for the challenge, and the board president's helping me cook that week, so we got this.
That's awesome.
So.
Jamie, if you need
if I need a co-host, you're right. All right, you send me your resume.
So.
Your resume.
Amanda, you might get drafted.
Oh yeah, that one.
I threw that out there for you, Jim.
What?
I said, Amanda, you might get drafted. So.
It's true.
So. Before I throw up our stuff, where can people find you?
Find us?
Yeah, out there in the world.
You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on our website, thecommonwheel.com, THE, and then commonwheel.com. You can find us in Lancaster at our 2 locations. 324 North Queen Street, 701 East King Street, King and Queen, and then here in Columbia at 137 Locust Street. We're all over
Awesome.
the place,
And-
taking over South Central PA.
And you mentioned earlier that you're working on the Sprinter van so you can take this out to rural communities, which again,
Exactly.
you are the best, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are the best.
Oh, gosh, no.
And Charlie.
Can't be if you are.
Stop! We can all be the best.
So,
We can all be the best.
Charlie's the best, too.
Charlie is the
You're
best.
you're in that, buddy.
so here's where you can find us, the Jotniks team. You know, we're working on getting more stuff out there, but come find us at the brewery. Keep in touch. Let us know if there's something you want to see. You know, we can always.
Yeah, there was a queue for Eastern State Pen. It's been in the back of my mind, at least as far as it's on the list, but it's we'll move it up a little, especially if we have a guest host. Hint. Yeah, we'll get to there.
Yep. So, anything to wrap this up?
Yeah, it's a lot, you know. And well, I would be very remiss if I didn't say thank you to Adriana here. This was a shot in the dark, pun intended, perhaps. Thanks for taking a risk and a chance, and you had no idea what you're getting into, and you know, being the rock star that you are, you said, sure, why not? Let's try it. And
I had a great time.
there it is. That's all that really matters.
Well, good.
So, and you know, thanks to anyone and everyone who was here with us that we can't see. You know, we may well turn up on the podcast.
Right.
When we review this, that was definitely a door.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was.
That door that. in front.
And Santa says we're all on the nice list.
Ah, yay. Bless.
Jim, thank you. The check's in the mail.
So, on that note, and thanking everybody, we want to thank everybody who comes out and watches us as well.
Yeah, we really-
we wouldn't be able to do this without you.
Thank you for letting us bumble and fumble and stumble through all of this. Now that we're doing live, though, this is kind of like, where else can we go? So,
yeah.
You guys are welcome back here anytime.
anytime.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, we will take you up on that,
will.
I'm sure.
Don't worry.
So.
I'll give you a key.
Especially when we get kicked out of home because it's for an hour long.
So.
All right.
All right. Well,
That's all I got,
on
guys.
that
Thank
note, I think we're going to run the end credits and call it a night.
We'll see you all next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Good night.